Hello, my name is Sharice White, and welcome to my channel where we discuss homemaking and holistic, helpful tips to keep your home healthy. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to talk about today some of the major supplements that I used during my pregnancy that I really felt like made a difference, not only for the pregnancy, but also for the natural birth that I wanted to have. This is not medical advice. Always discuss your health with your primary care doctor or practitioner that is helping you heal and knows your journey, knows your specific situation. So there you go. The first one is pretty obvious. I just wanted to get this one out of the way because we all know it. Is really to have a good prenatal on board. This is really going to play a big factor pretty much from the time you get pregnant all the way throughout your postpartum. Making sure that you have the nutrients to feed baby while you're developing them, but then also the added nutrients for you as well for your postpartum journey. If you're breastfeeding, it's definitely a big deal because your baby is still using a lot of the nutrients from your body, obviously. So you want to make sure you have a good quality one on brand, that they have activated B vitamins in them. The next one is going to be iron. So you always want to have your practitioner, whether you're dealing with a midwife, an OBGYN, someone who can basically pull labs for you, and they'll normally do a prenatal lab. It sometimes may or may not have iron attached to it. I prefer to run iron just to see, especially when people are pregnant. Usually, a lot of times people will do their CBC first, and this will actually give you information on whether you're anemic, and then that will trigger a doctor or a practitioner to then check for iron to see, hey, is this caused by an iron deficiency? I think it's worth it just to do it all up front so you don't have to run back and get another blood draw, but to each her own, you know? So I actually, this last pregnancy, did not have enough iron. So I was iron deficient. And some of the signs of this was, my hair falling out and breaking off. And I remember dealing with it, but thought maybe it was because I had just gone through ending breastfeeding and then hopping on and getting pregnant again. And I didn't realize I was anemic at the time, and I was. So this is a really big one for people. It also can lead to symptoms of depression and things like that. So if you're starting to feel that stuff at the beginning of your pregnancy, especially, and another one is shortness of breath. So like depressive feelings, really low energy, shortness of breath, and then maybe like hair breakage and things like that. One of the things that can be indicative of is iron deficiency. So it could be an anemia problem. So no harm in asking whoever you're working with, hey, can we check this just to see where my levels are. Mine were way below optimal, so I ended up taking a iron supplement to help boost those quickly, and it helped so much. I really felt a difference in my shortness of breath. My hair started growing back, and I wasn't as tired. So good stuff. The next one is going to be fish oils, especially ones with a high count of DHA. You want that so that you can really support the growth of your baby's nervous system and all of that stuff. We want to make sure that they have good fats on board for them, as well as for mama, because it's very important. You need fats to make hormones and so many other things in the body. So you have to have those, and not to mention that fish oils are anti-inflammatory as well. The next one that I take is chlorophyll. During my pregnancies, they're very helpful. They help keep my digestion on track, and they're really great for your gut. Also, it's very helpful for helping to basically just keep your pH balance in your body great, which is always a good thing. The next thing that is super, super important is your protein. I took collagen protein. It was the Needed brand. Both my collagen and my prenatal came from the same brand. And so my protein is super important. You want typically, to get a lot of protein while you're pregnant. A lot of women don't know that you need ideally about 70 grams a day. And that is actually a lot to try and eat daily if you've ever tried. Eggs are, an easy way to try and get to that number. But to be honest, unless you're just one of those people that have been bodybuilding and just chugging food and they're used to doing something like that, a protein powder is a really great way to do it. and it's going to be helpful in making sure you keep those energy levels good, and then also helping to regulate your blood sugar. So protein actually helps regulate insulin levels when especially when you're eating carbs at the same time. So if you have like toast or something, that's why you always want to pair it with a protein, because it will basically mitigate the insulin level and change in a healthy way if you're going to have a carb with it. So especially with people that are more at risk for gestational diabetes, I've found that's been something that it's been more of a risk for me when I'm pregnant. I definitely have to make sure that I'm on point with my protein intake to help balance those things and keep them in line. So next one is electrolytes. Obviously, it's always important to stay hydrated, but I definitely believe, especially making sure your cells are hydrated while you're pregnant is super important, because when you're with child, the things that normally would not be a big deal in terms of depletion for your body are definitely more noticeable when you're pregnant. So if you have like a slight off electrolyte balance, when you're not pregnant, maybe you don't really feel much at all. You just might be like, okay, I know I might feel thirsty, a little off, but not that big of a deal. When you're pregnant, as most of you probably know, if you're dehydrated, you can feel exhausted just because obviously you're sharing all of your nutrients with someone else. So definitely making sure you have that on your regimen is probably a helpful thing. Once again, not medical advice, but probably really helpful. The next thing for me is probiotics. I just always pretty much like to have that on board in general health, whether I'm pregnant or not. So I like to keep a healthy microbiome going on down there. And sometimes some of the cravings that I get when I'm pregnant, especially, can kind of throw my diet off, which, that can throw things off in your gut too. So I try to have that on board in small amounts. I don't overdo it, but it's very helpful for me. Next thing is raspberry leaf. You can do this in supplement form or tea form with loose leaf tea. I did both, and it was great. So it's very helpful, tonifying to the uterus, and it's really a bigger deal that for me. I took it more in higher doses closer to the actual birth, like on the third trimester. But I did also have lower amounts probably throughout the whole pregnancy, because it's just great and it's pretty nutritive for your entire body. And speaking of a type of herb that's like that as well is nettles. So I also took that more so in my first pregnancy, but I took that as well for the first portion because there's so many nutrients in that plant. And I took that as in like a supplement form. I didn't do like a tincture or a tea with that. It was dope. I took it as a supplement capsule that was prepared. And I'm pretty sure I got it either online or from Sprouts. So, yeah, something simple. Next one is Echinacea. I found this to be really helpful for times where I really wanted to keep my immune system strong, and I might have been going out and around other people that might be fighting off something or similar situations. As you know, if you're pregnant, it's really difficult to find things that you want to use for your immune system, even naturally with herbs and stuff, because you can't have all the same things you would, because they're either contraindicated in a certain amount or just all together just contraindicated for pregnancy. So I feel like Echinacea has been a really good one to help modulate my immune system and really kind of help give me that extra boost, alongside of vitamin C when I am really trying to prevent. I'm about prevention. I don't want to be in the mix and then have to fight it off. Don't get me wrong, it happens to me too. Like I will just run up against the wall, maybe ran myself too hard, and then been like, oh shoot, I'm gonna be resting for the next day. But if you can, Echinacea with vitamin C are great things to pair together. So they're safe during pregnancy and they help you stay on your P's and Q's, which I needed because when I was pregnant with my second, obviously it was different than the first time. First time I didn't have another child, so I could just go and sleep it off, take a nap whenever I wanted to, and it was bliss. It's still amazing now, but this pregnancy it was a wake up call because I was like, if I go down, Like this is going to be rough. So, yeah, that was a big thing. So keeping your immune system healthy is really important. And that really helped me to do it. So, okay. So one more, I know I said 10, but this might make it 11, is ginger. Ginger really helped with my digestive system. And then any mild amounts of queasiness that I had, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I haven't found something that works for like severe nausea or vomiting quite yet. And that's, I mean, whether you're talking about natural sources or not natural, like I don't know. I've met a lot of people that just have really intense, trimesters that's happened for, and they've tried everything and it didn't seem to work. But I will say, if I didn't experience that, so I had more like mild, I would describe it as queasiness, maybe some nausea, like sometimes, few times. And usually ginger is good for that. And I'll also check my, my blood sugar to make sure, hey, have I eaten enough right now? Do I need to get more protein in there? And then also, am I hydrated? Usually when that happens, you want to check deficiency levels, but some of it is, based on hormone changes and things like that. So I would say ginger really helped me, but I understand that it hasn't been potent enough for some people, depending on how intense your nausea is. And, that's for anything, I guess. It works for some people, not for others. For me, it was nice to kind of get like some ginger chews and give myself something to do. I tried not to, but I also would chew gum, and it would actually really help when I did. I tried not to because obviously that can cause tension headaches because you're tensing the muscles in your face. And a lot of people don't know that will lead to tension headache because you're chewing so long and using your muscle so long that you end up with other issues. Yeah. So I tried not to do that, but I'm going to be honest with y'all. Chewing gum did kind of help. But yeah, if you can, I would keep it to like a good like ginger chew and let that kind of see how that goes. It could work. Ginger tea is also really good, soothing when you put it with honey. So hey, it worked for me. So I would say it definitely can work for somebody else. That is all for today. I wanted to kind of give you guys a rundown. I'm going to put different links to the brands and the products that I used personally just for my journey. And hopefully this information helped you. Stay tuned for more videos from me about all things homemaking, but also helpful, healthy tips for your house to help fuel your children, help fuel you, your husband, all the goods. So love you guys and see you soon.